So there is a concept which is called a silent observer. Imagine you are a fly on the wall, observing yourself and observing the thoughts that are going through your head. And you're not judging them, you're just observing them, yeah, and allowing them to come in and float by. For example, I'm thinking about the call that I've got to do this afternoon. Right. That wasn't a very nice call. Oh, he was an idiot. Oh, that makes me feel sad. Okay, I was thinking that. What am I going to have for lunch today? Oh, I bet it's schnitzel again. I love schnitzel, stuff like that. So the thought comes in, you observe it silently, you don't judge it, and then you let it go by again. And so the principle of this is that you begin over time, or very quickly, actually, you begin looking at the quality of your own thoughts. And that's depressing.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a book called The Power of Now. And I don't actually recommend this book. It's a bit esoterical for me. But the first pages are kind of interesting because the chap says, have a look at your thoughts. What do you think of? 45% of your thoughts have to do with things that happened in the past. That's called regret. Yeah. Another 45% of your thoughts are to do with things that are going to happen in the future. That's called worry. So 90% of your time is spent thinking thoughts about regret or worry. There's another 5%, which is planning for the actual activities that you need to do in the next hour or day, which means there's an incredibly short percentage of time that you spend in any type of thought, which is, happy. It's kind of interesting to look at it from that perspective. What are your thoughts on that, Mike?
Well, it resonates very strongly with me. This idea of being present in the moment, right? And all we have is now. I think it's so powerful. And as you said, when you're confronted with it, you recognize that most people, and certainly yourself, you spend very little time just appreciating where you are and actually taking the action that you can take right now and not worrying about the future and not lingering on the past. And usually it's something negative. And so I really, really agree with this. I mean, the book itself is definitely interesting. But as you said, quite esoteric. Eckhart Tolle is the author, right?
Yeah.
And he's also quite a common speaker, so you can also probably find YouTube videos, etc., of him.
But the thought behind it is get a piece of paper and a pen, write down all of those thoughts, and start seeing where your thinking is going. And that's an interesting and an instructive piece of work to do. It fits in line with that. We mentioned it in one of the other clips, which is journaling. Yeah, writing stuff down, writing down what are you thinking. But also, can you switch up? Can you switch off? Yeah, can you switch it off? It's like, I've got a radio in my head and it's called Radio Tim, and it's the best show in town. And it switches on at 6 o'clock in the morning and it doesn't switch off until I go to sleep in the evening. And so the question is, can you actually switch it off during the day? And can you switch it off for any amount of time? And so whether that's going for a walk, looking at the trees, looking at the sea, meditating, autogenic training, breathing techniques, clenching fists, going for a run, physical exercise, I think all of these things have the capacity to help you to switch off. And actually switching off is the place where you gain so much energy and strength and fiber for your day-to-day existence.
Well, that I think comes to our question to our participants, right? Which is, firstly, do you use any of these techniques? Do you use mindfulness or a similar process of sitting there and being introspective, or trying to figure out how your thoughts come in and how you can process them? Do you journal? So any thoughts you have around that, or any kind of advice or suggestions you would also share to your colleagues, would be really, really interesting.
And I think another question there is, do you take your work home with you? So the stuff and the stress and the conversations and sometimes the negativity that builds up within the course of a working day, do you take it home with you? And is it going through your mind for a longer period of time after you leave work? I think that's a really important area of discussion for the groups to have.